Everybody, welcome to Marriage Moments with the Islands.
All righty. We're live.
Okay.
Yeah.
So again, welcome. We are the Islands. I'm Helena.
And I'm Billy.
And we just celebrated our 15th year anniversary. We've been married 15 years. We have been together 18 years. Mm-hmm. And we decided that what we're going to do today is share 5 things. We're not going to do 15 things we've learned in 15 years.
Oh my God, that would be a lot, right?
We're going to do 5 things each. So I guess that's 10. I don't know. But
5 things
we've learned in
this
15 years of marriage.
So 5 things from me.
And 5 things from me.
Yeah, it would be crazy if we did 15 apiece, but it is a lot that we've learned.
I would say so.
And I think that, in Christian living, we got to have Christian learning. And in Christian marriage, you definitely got to have Christian moments. And so, these moments are very, 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 they're very educational. Mm-hmm. I would say that, if you're the same in marriage, then you have missed a lot of opportunities to learn.
And to grow.
And to grow,
Mm-hmm. I agree. All right, so we're just going to get on into it. Now,
you want to rate, review, share, comment on our YouTube page, share it with someone. Get this content out. We truly believe that this content can help people. So what you want to do is make sure that you get this content to other people, send it to people's inboxes, comment, and then, we can get this to other people so they can experience what you're experiencing right now, and they can learn, and we can all grow together as a community. Yeah.
Yes. So now I guess we're about to get into it.
Yeah.
We do. I always forget to say that part, and it's so super important because that's how social media works. Right?
Yeah. So, so we're the Islands. My name is Billy, and Helena is about to jump into her 5 things. We're going to, kind of like bounce back and forth off each other about the things we've learned in marriage. And so hopefully this will really bless you. This will help you. It can help someone else. Again, if you share, rate, and review, it'll mean the world to us if you get this content out to other people. So we got married June the 26th, 2010. And so that makes 15 years, right? And it's been a beautiful, beautiful journey. Our dating experience was so phenomenal. Long distance dating experience. Yeah. She lived in San Antonio, Texas. And at the time I lived in Fort Worth, Texas. And so we would, see each other about, every month or so. Sometimes it wouldn't be every month. Sometimes it would be
twice a month.
Sometimes it'd be, every other month or every few months. Sometimes you'd be, traveling or something. And that experience was just so rich. And I'm not sure if we're going to be talking about learning from our dating experience and marriage, or just our 15 years of marriage.
Well, I don't know. It's whatever you want to talk about. I think mine come mostly from our marriage.
Okay. So what is one of the top things, or one of the things that you've learned since being married with me?
So I have to write my stuff down. So I wrote my stuff down.
Okay.
I would say I'm going to start with, I've had to learn over this course of time that the decisions that I make or don't make, they directly affect you as a person, and I think that speaks to just our union, of becoming one. And I think that I just really didn't have a clear understanding of the magnitude of that, the magnitude of my procrastination, how that affects you, the magnitude of my refusing to grow or change in an area of my life, how that affects you, my either answering a call that God has given me or not answering a call that God has given me, how that affects you. So I think that's one thing that I can honestly say, that over the course of these 15 years, I have begun to see how my life literally has an impact on your life, and so That's something that I've learned.
When do you think that registered? Because it's been 15 years now, and you say this is one of the things that you learned in 15 years. And I agree. Same thing with me. You know, definitely my life impacts your life, affects negatively or positively. But when do you think that registered in your spirit, your mind, your heart? When did you catch that?
Yeah. So, probably, okay, so the first year, like we tell everybody all the time, was super hard. So probably...
Still hard. It's still hard.
No, that first year was really, really hard.
Well,
I mean, it was hard in a different way.
Yeah, it was,
In a different way.
It was just like horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was hell. So I would say probably maybe 5 years in. You know, 5 years in, I think that's when, if I'm just being honest and transparent, which I am.
Yeah, you always are.
I always am. I feel like I started to let my guards down by year 5, and I started saying, okay, started seeing you as a part of me, you know, as a part of me, and not basically you're living your life and I'm living mine. We just kind of live under the same roof, and that kind of thing. And so our life was incorporated in other ways, you know, like we've always had a joint bank account. We've always talked about like bills, and we've built a ministry together, and we were building at the time. And so we had communication on certain levels, but deep levels of, you know, hey, I'm sad and it's okay to share that with you, and you sharing that sadness with me and that kind of thing. Yeah, it was a while before I felt like I could even be that open, that vulnerable, you know, with you. And so as I began to give myself to that, I started seeing, man, you know, he cares about this, you know, and I don't know why it, you know, took me a while to get to that, but it did, you know, that you cared about what I was going through. And so, because of that, it caused me to think about the decisions I would make, you know, like, okay, if we're building a ministry together. So at the time we were living in our recovery center, which we have a recovery center for men who struggle with addiction. And I had a role to play in that at that time. And when I was late, or I didn't do something on time, or I didn't get something done, it would affect, you know, essentially the overall, not the overall ministry, but like I could see where it affected things, you know, and then we had to learn how to separate that from our relationship, and so it was just a lot. It was a lot that unfolded. But at the end of the day, ultimately, I began to see how my decision or lack of decision making affected you.
Yeah, I can see that. And everyone has their season and their time, and when they catch things, when they learn things. It's not a calendar. It's not a clock that says this is when you're supposed to be here. You know. So, you know, you understood about 5 years in, you know, just estimating, you know, that, hey, my decision making affect, you know, this marriage. And obviously that's a good principle to learn. It's a good truth to grab hold of, because, you know, most people come from an independent, single life, and it's only you.
Yeah.
Like, and say you don't have kids, like you didn't have children coming into our marriage. I mean, you didn't have anyone to take care of but you know, obviously you took care of, you know, like, you know, your mom, things like that, say if you have pets. But so often in life, when someone comes into a marriage, they come in independent.
Oh, yeah.
And so it depends, you know, how much. And for us, like you said, us living in a recovery center, me and you, and we were helping people recover from addictions and counseling men through all types of life controlling situations. Well, it was easy to put our marriage on the back burner.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you know, our marriage, yes, we had date night every week. We spent time with each other, but we were so consumed by anywhere from 75, 100 men, you know, in our vicinity right there that we were serving, you know, it just really didn't create a lot of time and space for us to just really calculate and say, hold on. I thank God that you learned that. And so I want to go ahead and jump into one of the things, one of the 5 things that I've learned. And one of the 5 things that I've learned, one is that marriage is super difficult, you know, and it's not for the faint, it's not for the weak.
Yeah.
I think I learned that in year 1. You know, when
day 1, week 1.
yeah, because at the time I'd been leading for 5-6 years in ministry as a vocation. You know, whether it's children ministry, student ministry with youth, I'd been leading people for quite some time. By the time we got married, and I come to realize that I wasn't as you know, good as I thought I was. Yeah. I wasn't as well off like in my leadership and my communication skills, and it just showed me so much about myself that I realized that, oh my God, this is difficult. And you know, I mean, I thought, you know, so many people that men that may be single and they're like, ooh, I just can't wait to get married. Ooh, I just can't wait to find my significant other. Great. I'm glad that you're excited about that. I really am. I'm so happy that you want to join life with someone else and do life with someone else. But I want to tell you this. It's very difficult. Yeah. And I'm not going to act like it's not difficult. I would never pitch that to someone. And so one of the things that I found difficult is being able to lead you, you know, without like controlling you. Yeah. You know, and that was one of the difficult things. And I'm just going to be honest, you know, because I can be a control freak, whether you want to accept that or not. I can just be truthful about myself. Yeah. You know, I can be a control freak. And I come to realize that, whoa, I'm very authoritative. And I thought that I translated in my mind as that is leadership. Yeah. Because of the environment I grew up in. I grew up where you climbed up the chart, the longevity of your tenure, you know, in ministry gave you more authority, and people would just listen to you by just telling them something. And it wasn't really leadership. Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. That's kind of like the lowest level of quote unquote leadership. Positional leadership. Positionally, yeah. According to John C. Maxwell, that's the lowest level. And that's where I was at when I married you. Yeah. I was at a place where if I was in a position, so it was more like I'm your husband. The Bible says I'm the head. Obey. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that. I mean, of course, I wouldn't say that. I mean, who runs around saying stuff like that? It sounds horrible. Yeah. But in my mind, obviously, I had to come to the conclusion, I think that's the way I think it works. In my mind. So it was very difficult for me to shift from being a domineering, authoritative, positional leader to shifting to, hold on. I need to learn how to influence and lead because she wants to. Yeah. Because she wants to follow me. Give her a reason to want to follow you. And I think that was difficult. And I know some people may say, oh, that's simple, that's easy. Yeah, it's easy to say that it's easy. Yeah. But when you've been a certain way for quite some time, you have to start uprooting things. Just being honest with yourself. That's true. I had to start uprooting, you know, belief systems I had. I had to start uprooting, you know, who I was as a person. And so I had to recreate myself. Yeah. And that was one of the most difficult things for me. And that's one of the things I learned is marriage is difficult. Yeah. And that's not just for me. These are principles that's transferable to any marriage. No matter how great of a leader you may be right now, even when you get into a marriage, you will not be able to change the fact that marriage is difficult. And I'm going to go ahead and go out and put our belief system out there. And for people that are not Christians, that don't have Jesus in their life and in their marriage, I just feel like it's totally impossible to truly be healthy without Jesus in your marriage. So so that's the first thing. I can definitely understand that
that phrase, because it's true. Marriage is difficult, and I think a lot of people approach marriage as, because unity is the ultimate goal, right? The two becoming one. And I think that sometimes, I know that we struggle with this. Unity is not conformity. You are a different, separate, totally you and separate and apart from me individual. Same with me. I have a brain, I have a mindset, I have all these different unique qualities that make me, and I'm bringing that to the table. And I think that when we began to appreciate those things about each other, it helped a lot, in things not being as difficult. I think that when we came to the conclusion we're different than each other, and it's okay.
Woo! I want to just highlight, because we can't blow past that phrase that you just said. Unity is not conformity.
Yeah.
That is, oh my God, that is a game changer when that becomes a reality.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, just us, diversity is what creates unity.
Yeah.
I'm not in unison with you. I'm not unified with you if I'm conforming to just what you want. That's not unity. That's just you, because I'm becoming basically you.
Yeah.
Like, that's why some people say, I just love that. Oh my God, we think the same. We like the same thing. Do you?
Really?
Because reality is like, maybe they're just doing it because they think that that's what a relationship is supposed to be.
Just trying to keep peace.
Trying to keep
somebody over appeasing the other person. Which, don't get me wrong, Billy and I like a lot of things, but we dislike a lot of things.
Yeah.
We have separate likes, and things too.
Yes.
And
there's a lot of things we like that are the same.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of things, and it's entirely more then that is totally not even close. It's like, I'm on Mars, you're in Neptune.
Yeah.
And it's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay. I think that is so good to just really lean in there.
Yeah.
It's okay that you're not like your spouse.
Yeah.
It's okay that you like, this is basic, you like Neapolitan ice cream and she likes strawberry.
Yeah.
It's okay that she likes these type of movies and you like that type of movie. It's okay that, and I think that as you just go down the line of things that they conflict. See, because when you're dating, opposites attract. But somewhere in there, when you get married, opposites begin to start to attack.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we begin, and you start, because, you're attracted to them and you're really different, but you're trying to act like, oh, you're conforming. Unity is not conformity. Yeah. And then once you get married, you come, you can't fake no more. This is who I really am. This is really who I am.
I can't hold it.
Like, I can't stop it. I hate these movies.
Right. I mean, and marriage. Yeah. I mean, this is not on my list, but this is a bonus. Marriage, marriage is probably the playground for the most petty behavior ever.
Oh my God.
Like, just petty.
Super petty.
Listen.
Mr. Petty.
Okay.
Dr. Petty. PhD in petty.
Okay. Absolutely just the most petty. Listen. I'm gonna just give you a petty story. This is in 2025, like a month ago.
Hey, this is hot right here,
so
fresh out the press.
I'm just telling you, marriage can be so petty. So we had to take a business trip to Colorado, right? We packed and everything. I packed my suitcase. Billy packs his. We go on our trip. We come back. I unpack my suitcase.
Because she's so well organized.
I wouldn't say that.
Okay,
but I'm
joking. That was a joke.
I'm not super disorganized either. But I will say this. Here's where the petty came in.
Okay.
You went into our room, left your suitcase, and it was basketball playoff time.
Yeah, NBA Finals
and
now.
So I came in, I unpacked my suitcase, got everything, put dirty clothes in dirty clothes, whatever. And I look at your suitcase, and in that moment, I was like, you know what? I should probably unpack his suitcase.
Holy Ghost.
I went total flesh mode and was like, no. He's literally sitting in there on the couch, can get up. I mean, he's doing nothing. Why can't I just sit on the couch?
Hold on, fellas.
I mean, just went all
NBA
the way
Finals
there. Went all the way there.
It's something.
all the way there. And so, do you not know that suitcase? And then your pettiness kicked in.
Yeah.
Because he refused to
Okay.
unpack the suitcase. That suitcase sat there about a month.
Right.
And yeah.
I mean, you can
I
get
went
real
there.
petty. I mean, it just
You can be
becomes
real petty.
I mean, you can become petty. I mean, it brings things out.
Yeah, is
And
the
so
point.
it's so difficult. And so I can jump into two then.
Yeah.
One of the things, one of the things that because I'm on this anthem about difficulty.
Yeah.
What I've learned in marriage, the second thing, is marriage is a magnifier,
Okay.
not a minimizer.
Absolutely. Yeah. I agree.
Marriage is a magnifier, not a minimizer. Your problems do not minimize
Yeah.
in marriage. If you got a lust problem,
Okay.
it maximizes.
That part.
If you have an anger problem, it does not minimize. Like if you're frustrated because you're lonely and you're depressed and you have all type of issues because of you're single and been single too long. Marriage magnifies it. It does not minimize it. Don't ever think that it's going to solve the problems that you have just because you get married. Like, oh, now I won't be alone. Well, you probably won't be able to relate to them and they can't relate to you. And then now it magnifies because the problem was not you being single. The problem was you understanding that God is with you.
Yeah.
The loneliness.
Yeah.
The loneliness magnifies. Whatever it may be, marriage magnifies. It does not minimize.
I totally agree 100%.
That's the second one. Yeah.
That's really, y'all, are you taking note? You ought to write that one down. Marriage is a magnifier. Whatever issues you're dealing with before you get married, you can go ahead and times at least 10.
Oh, yeah.
When you get married.
Because I had a frustration problem and an irritation problem and mild anger problem as I was single. I get married and it just magnified. It seemed like you would do stuff and it would just frustrate me. And I'm like, come on, it's not her.
Right.
This is me.
Yeah.
I get irritated. This is not her. This is me. I get angry and it may be silent and it's just festering in my heart.
Yeah.
This is not her. This is me. It magnified. It magnified.
And that's you, like you're saying, before you even met me.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that a lot of times people forget that, I mean, whatever I was, okay, I'm stubborn. I wasn't stubborn when I got married to Billy. I was that way before I met him.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, definitely magnifier. My number 2 is what I'm doing translating to love for him?
Okay.
Meaning, I'm doing all of the things, all of this stuff around the house, all of this, trying to make this house a home, cooking, cleaning,
Okay.
Working in our ministry, doing all the things that I'm doing. But is it translating to love for you?
That's good.
And I think that
So you learned.
I started to learn your love language.
Okay.
What actually translates to love for you? One of Billy's love languages, not totally all of them, but one of his love languages is gifts. He likes gifts. I mean, you can literally bring him practically a twig off of a tree that you went and visited or something, and he'd be so grateful because you thought of him, kind of thing. In other words, it's not always a grand gesture. Over the years, his the gifts he likes to receive has gotten grander, I think, between us. But for the most part, just to know that you thought of him and brought him something, he would accept any gift. And I did not understand that for a while. It took me a while to realize, oh, he likes gifts. It could be something as simple as, oh, babe, I went to Walmart the other day, maybe a couple of months ago or whatever. I went to Walmart that, sometimes they have baskets where they have stuff on clearance, and you see people hovering over it. So I'm like, what they looking at? So I go over there and they have socks in that basket for like $3 or something. I got you a few pair of them and I brought them and I was like, babe, I got you some socks. And you were like, oh my gosh, thanks. any little gift that
Yeah.
translates to love for him,
Yeah.
you know. And so I had to reconfigure some things because I couldn't understand, you know, why don't you feel loved? Why don't you feel seen? Why don't you feel heard? Whatever. Because I wasn't getting to what is this translating to for you. Now, that's different than what love translates for me.
Yeah.
And I think that what I was doing to my fault was I was expecting what I love and appreciate and feel loved through to be the same thing for you. And that's not fair.
Yeah.
You know, it's just not fair. That's not taking the time to learn your spouse. That's not taking the time to essentially care about what they care about.
Yeah.
And
It's a
so
book
I've learned that.
By a guy named Gary Chapman, talking about 5 love languages.
Right.
And if you're in a relationship, I'd really encourage you to get that book by Gary Chapman called 5 Love Languages, because sometimes what you will be doing, or what we do, is we actually will love someone our way.
Yeah.
And for us, it's like, why don't this register with them? But it's kind of selfish on my part if I'm just giving gifts, and that was my situation, just giving gifts, and that's not you. You're more like time. Just hang out with me, spend time with me, listen, you know, things like that. You know, affirmation, you know, and words of affirmation. So once you identify what your partner's love language is, now you keep on filling their love tank with what they translate as love. That don't mean that, you know, all those efforts you've done is like, you know, it's nothing, but it's not nothing to them. But you studying your person is very important. So that's
you don't
so
get
good.
You don't get the same gratifying, like, it doesn't make you happy as well to see them happy when it's not translating to love for them.
Yeah.
Like, in other words, Billy, you know, he buys me expensive things, you know, and I love them. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, I would be just as happy with us spending time, you know, going, or you do, you know, acts of service or doing something, you know, I mean, or words of affirmation probably would get the level of gratitude that you would like to see from your spouse when you know what their love
Like,
language
okay, like say when she's saying words of affirmation, talking about like, you know, me building her up with some words, you know, affirming her, letting her know, you know, how much she means to me. That would be just as important, you know, or great as a Louis bag, or, you know, something like that, because gifts is my thing. That's what I translate. And I, you know, translate love as, and it's not limited to that, but that's one of the things. But so, okay, so you've learned over the years, you know, my love language. And then, you know, you've realized that also that your decisions directly or indirectly affect our marriage. And I've learned that, you know, marriage is difficult.
Yeah.
And then I've also learned that not only marriage is difficult, but let's just be real. Each and every time, like, you know, over the years, you know, I've come to realize that, you know, marriage is a magnifier, not a minimizer.
Yeah.
You know, and so what else would you say that you've learned over the last
I've
15
learned
years?
that you don't have all the answers, and it's okay.
Yeah.
That you're on a faith journey, just like I'm on a faith journey.
I'm so
you know?
that is so liberating.
That I
know.
can extend you grace, just like I need grace, you know. And I think that
Is there a time that you came to that conclusion, and what made you think that I did have, like, not necessarily all the answers, but, you know, that I had it?
Well, I think it
together
goes
or
back
whatever.
to the fact that you are a go-getter. You are a take charge of the situation type of person. You are a everything is done with a sense of urgency. You're not a procrastinator for the most part, and so I just developed a mindset, like, by the time I'm coming up with the answer or what I'm going to do, you're already doing something about it, you know? And so I felt like what it did was it kind of made me lazy minded a little bit, to the point where I would just be like, oh, you know, he knows what we're going to do, or he has the answer to that. And it's like, no, Not
Yeah.
necessarily,
Yeah.
what, okay. And even if he does have an answer to it, what was my input in it? It made me, I started realizing that if I'm just going to be the helper that God intends me to be, when it comes to my marriage, I have to bring something of quality to the table. I can't
Yeah.
just dump my life on him like that,
Yeah.
And I think that it started becoming weighty and difficult and not fun, in our marriage for a season, because it was like you would say a lot of times, man, can you think of something like it's something as simple as where we're gonna go eat? You're like, I have to think of where we're gonna go eat, find the directions,
Fellas,
get
but that don't come easy. Like, we know, you see all the reels that what do you want to eat, babe? I mean, and that's not one. So what does it do for us? Third thing I learned is learn how to be patient.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
what she's saying is okay, I'm moving fast, or there's an urgency and I'm doing it quick. Well, if I want her input, which is very, very needed and helpful, and it's totally a game changer. It's an asset to have her involved, her brain, her perspective. Well, I need to slow down.
Yeah.
I need to slow down and make sure that I get her input, get her thoughts. I'd never forget, like, we were about to buy a house, and I can live anywhere. I mean, I just I don't know if it's my background from being involved in gangs and drugs and been in the penitentiary and locked up 6-7 years of my life. I don't know. Living in a recovery center for 13 years. I don't know. Just, you can add that up. That's about 20 years of me being around men and just and not the type of place I would choose to be in, but I'm just there, and I'm just, I would accept it, and I can deal with it, and I'll see growth in it or whatever. So I was going to choose this house, and we were moving because we were planting a new church in a new location, and we wanted to be a little closer to it. And so in the middle of that, we're looking at this house, but in my spirit, in my heart, I'm like, I don't think Elena likes this house. But she's over being quiet and, and she don't want to give no input. No, I can do whatever. I'm thinking, and we're driving, and I just looked and I said, well, what do you really feel? And it just was a moment, because it was like, she'd start sharing some emotional, things that was going on internally with her, like what she does not want to do. She don't want to, be a hindrance to the move of God, so I can do whatever. I'm like, no, we're not talking about that. But what do you want?
Yeah.
What do you want? Do you want to move in this house? No, I don't. I'm like, gosh, it was like pulling teeth, you know what I mean? Like with bare finger, just to get her to say it, because she's, at a place where in life where, she's humble. She wants to go along to get along. And I'm like, no, we need to know what you really think. But years ago, I would have plowed through that.
Yeah.
I would have kept on, would have moved over there, would have just lived there, but I just had to take my time and say, hold on.
Yeah.
As we were in commute, what do you really want?
Yep.
Because I don't want to be dragging you into this space if this is not where you want.
Yeah.
This is to live, And so that was one thing where I'm just learning. What have I learned? To be patient. I haven't mastered that one.
Yeah.
But I'm learning. What have I learned? And am I learning? In the last 15 years, I've been learning to, slow down.
Yeah.
Slow down. Be more
That's
patient.
good.
Be more patient to hear you out, so you can. Because I'm going to tell you this, fellas. If your wife is not involved in the decision making, if your wife is not involved in, the things that you guys are doing, then your marriage is being hindered, and you're not tapping into all the resources that God has given you, because she is a resource, and you were never intended to do all that by yourself. You were never intended to. God never intended for you to get married with someone and then you just boss everything around and you don't add. She adds something that you don't have.
Right.
Period. You just don't have it. Then you could try with all your heart, and you won't be able to accomplish what she could accomplish. I can think for the longest for about 2 hours, just sitting over scratching my head, and then I could ask Elena, and in 5 seconds she could give me something that I could never bring to the table. I just don't have the ability. It don't make you a bad person. It just makes you not a woman. That's it. You're just just not a woman. It don't make you a bad person. Like, you're a horrible leader. No, you're not. You're just not a woman. And she's gonna see it from a different perspective. So my third thing is learning to be patient.
Yeah, that's really good. That's really good. And I think that, like I said, when I came to the conclusion, you don't know everything and it's okay. That helped me to understand that, okay, I have a responsibility in this marriage, and that
Yes.
a part of that responsibility is being able to bring quality decision making, quality conversation, quality faith to this relationship. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
one of the most powerful things, we went to church on Sunday. We visited a church on Sunday, and in that whole time we were there, I went all the way to that church to hear these words. And basically the preacher was saying, do you have childish faith or do you have childlike faith? Because there's a difference.
My God.
And
I
light bulb
remember that
just
now.
clicked on for me, because I'm like, golly, you know, am I just sitting here worrying about the wrong thing all the time because my faith is so childish that I can't trust God for the more. I can't trust God for the big. I can't pray big, strong, bold faith prayers, you know, over my marriage and in our ministry and things like that. And so at the end of the day, I think that because I don't know what type of husband you may have, but sometimes, most of the time, men are, you know, kind of like conqueror, go-getter. Not all men, but a lot of men, they approach life like that, you know. And sometimes we as women tend to shy away. We step back and we just kind of, well, whatever he wants, whatever he thinks, whatever he likes. But you have a brain, sis. You have a brain, and you have emotion, and you have an understanding and feeling about a situation that could save your family money, that can save your family years of pain, all of the things, you know. And I think that a lot of times women, we reap a harvest of misery because we didn't sow a seed of encouragement or faith or you know, boldness or courage into a decision that was being made. You know, and
takes courage, right?
And we sometimes complain about the results we got, but we did nothing to cultivate the opposite effect, you know? And so I think that when I came to the conclusion, Billy doesn't know everything, and that's okay. It doesn't make him less of a man. It doesn't make him weak. It doesn't make him any of that. It makes him a human being.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, this is good that you're saying this, because sometimes I think that men often, not all the time, but some husbands, they give their family and their wife the impression that like they got it all together.
Yeah.
And that don't mean that it's not to the extreme where I'm sitting over and balled up in a fetal position in the corner crying because we have problems. No, it's not to that extreme either. But you have a balance of being just real and honest. You know, like, okay, we're gonna depend on the Lord for that,
right? Because
you're not God.
Exactly.
You're not God. We're gonna have to pray about it. No, I don't know, but let's pray. And it gives room for the Holy Spirit to actually do what He does, instead of you trying to be in the way and being the hero. And now you got this God Messiah complex seeping through your marriage and your family, and everyone thinks that you know everything.
Exactly.
And it's like, that is not how it works.
Exhausting.
It's very exhausting. That's going to break you. That's going to break you. That'll break a person. So what is the fourth thing for you that you've learned in 15 years of marriage?
The fourth thing I've learned in 15 years of marriage is that you like affection and just as much as I do. You like affection and attention and want to be wanted just as much as I do.
Yeah, that's true.
And
that's
so
true.
That was strange, you know. I don't know why. But when I learned that, I'm just like, okay, he wants a hug. He wants to be pursued. He wants, you know, to know that I'm sexually attracted to him. He wants to know that you know, he wants my touch, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's good to, you know, I think my persona kind of falsely presents me. Like, I think people really get the wrong impression because the way I carry myself, and then I have to evaluate myself, you know, because like when I'm being transparent, someone's looking at me like, oh my God, like they act like their hero just died or something. Like, bro, I'm human as well, bro. I got some struggles. I battle, man. Hey, you know, and so I think even in the context of what you're talking about, like, just like you desire, you know, to be wanted. Absolutely. You know, I need that. I mean, what I'm human. I want to be wanted. I want to know that you want me, that you care for me, and that you want to hang out with me. I mean, that's very important to me. I mean, I wouldn't marry you just, you know, you know, in this one side. I gotta want you, and you just get all that. And then for me, I guess I gotta figure it out. You know, I gotta figure it out. I just gotta know that God is with me. You know, it's like, hold up. You know what I mean? Where's my wife? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's a good one, and it's true, and it's true. But I think that also on the other end, it's me, the way I carry myself, and it's not on purpose. It's not. I mean, it just I do not carry myself on purpose in a way like I don't need anyone. But I don't know why sometimes it translates that to people. Yeah. And I'm like, nah, that's not me. So that's good to know. Fourth thing I've learned in marriage is, this is so important. This is very important for me, is learning to be more emotionally intelligent and aware.
Yeah.
And
that's good.
I have been on a journey with therapists. I've been on a journey talking to my wife, obviously to the Lord. I think I went on this journey when my dad died in 2019.
Yeah.
And I was wondering why I'm not grieving, I guess, the way other people grieve. You know, I guess I was putting in a box, like, you know, and I had my grieving moment. I did, you know, and still to this day, sometimes I reflect, I'm like, wow, you know, his birthday was June 1st. You know, I had a little reflection, you know, on my father. But it made me, it was the best thing. God is so good.
Yeah. God
is so amazing. He's so perfect. He's so sovereign. His providence is just beautiful because he sews with his cosmic needle. He threads everything together, your brokenness, your hurts, your grievances, and he used that to catapult me into a space where I was starting to evaluate my emotions more.
Yeah.
Not live off of my emotions. That's two different things. But you're not truly free if you don't know how you truly feel.
Wow.
That does not mean because I feel this way, I'm going to actually respond off of it.
Yeah, because emotions can lie.
Yeah, most of the time they're going to lie to you.
Yeah.
Because they up, down, you know. Obviously, you got to have the bedrock of truth.
Yeah.
God's word. But you need to be aware of how you truly feel.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know how to communicate that. There's times when, you know, I fail at that, you know, even to this day, but I think I'm entirely better. And I did not know emotions was so important to the whole entire makeup of mankind, because I was trained that, you know, it don't matter how you feel, which, you know, I know what they were trying to say. They were saying, don't live off your emotions.
Yeah. You got to do stuff regardless of how you feel.
Right.
Yeah.
But I translated it as basically being numb to my emotions. And that don't mean that that's what they even meant.
Yeah.
But that's how I processed it. And so I've been going on that journey, and it's been so important, and I love it. And that's what I've learned, that emotional intelligence and emotional awareness is key to having a healthy marriage. Because if you're not emotionally healthy, your marriage is not going to be healthy.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's what I've learned.
That's so good. And I think that when you went on that journey,
on that journey.
Yeah, when you began that journey and your continuation of that journey, it brought such a liberation to our marriage in general. You know, because whenever one spouse is experiencing some form of dysfunction, again, realizing that how you are and what you're doing and how you're feeling affects your person.
Yes.
I think that it was hard. It just kind of brought clamps on the emotional well-being of our entire union.
Absolutely.
You know,
absolutely.
And so, and that can be husband to wife or wife to husband. You know, that's why going on a journey to be emotionally aware and healthy is so important on both parties, because at the end of the day, the marriage can be too emotionally driven and just destroy stuff too, you know. And then it can be emotionally unaware and destroy things too. So having that healthy balance has been a key, a game changer and a key component in our marriage. I completely agree with that. I know that just like when Billy was talking about how he helped me to go ahead and speak the words, "I don't like this house." That was an emotional mountain that I had to overcome. But he helped me with that. And I've helped him to identify, hey, you're not angry, you're hurt, you know, or that kind of thing. And we've helped each other identify different where we truly are emotionally, but that's only because we've both been going on an emotional healthy journey.
And I want to say this, I want to add this, because if a person is not tapping into their spouse like that, and they think that God alone, or say if you got a pastor or something, that is putting too much weight on one person. And not the God part. I'm talking about like a pastor or a leader, you know, but a human. But I mean, even with God, you know, you still want to have a person here in the earth. You know, to be honest, growth does not happen in isolation.
Right.
And why not
so
grow with the person you chose to be with for the rest of your life?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, why not? I mean, so I love those open, transparent moments that we have, and that, you know, you can, you know, you speak freely about what you see in me, and I do the same. And then that does not, you know, I don't feel insecure in such a way where I would say like, no, you can't speak on that. You can no. That's how we grow, and I love our marriage because of that. I love where we're at, and I love that we do that together. And so what's your where are you at? You're on 4 now? Number 4?
I think this is 5.
Okay,
Yeah,
this is your 5th one.
5. Then my 5th one, and probably
what was your 4th one?
My 4th one was that you need affection.
Okay.
Like I need affection. Okay. So my 5th one, and this is probably the most important one, is my heart. The condition of my heart is my responsibility. My relationship with God is my responsibility. My freedom journey is my responsibility. I can't dump that off on Billy, and I can't use that age-old phrase, well, if you wouldn't have, I wouldn't have. If you wouldn't have said that, I wouldn't have did this. If you wouldn't, I can't blame shift. I can't dump my life on him and expect him to make me whole. That's God's job. And I have to yield to that. And so that's probably one of the most important things I've learned in our 15 years is my health and well-being is my responsibility. Even my physical health. I'll never forget, I had gone to the doctor. This is years ago. And my blood pressure was high. And the doctor gave me some medication, and Billy asked me one day, hey, have you been taking that medication the doctor gave you? And I was like, nah, I'm not going to take it. I don't believe it. I don't receive that. I mean, I'm not going down that route, blah, blah, blah. He said, well, what about me? And I was like, what do you mean? You know, and he was like, yeah, the doctor told you your blood pressure's high. He gave you some medication. You're refusing to take it. What if something happens to you? Have you figured out how, if something happens to you, how that's going to affect me? And my heart just sank. I was just like, oh my gosh, you know, no, I hadn't. And then it made me want to be more responsible about my physical health. Yeah. You know, and thank God I don't have to take that medication anymore, because I am on a journey of of being healthier. And so, anyway, my whole point is I've learned that I can't just, play the blame game. I have to take responsibility for my life.
And this one, I think, is probably the most important one. I think it could have been, it would be number 1 out of all of them that I've learned, is when my relationship with God is off, my marriage is off.
Yeah.
I mean, and that seems so basic.
The same thing.
It seems so basic. But when I'm off with God, the first place it's you, I'm telling you, I've seen people be off with God and it comes out later, and they'll be around people and they don't, you know, they'll be around people, they pastoring still, preaching, still leading people. You don't know nothing, but I'm going to tell you, the marriage place is where it pops up immediately. Like it pops up immediately. If I'm off with God, I didn't get in the word of God, I didn't pray internally or get dropped on my knees and sought God, I'm going to be frustrated. I'm going to be arguing with you. Everything you do is going to irritate me. You know, most of the things you do would irritate me. Something's going to happen. It's going to be a wedge. You know, it's going to magnify. It's going to magnify, you know, in this marriage. If you are walking by yourself, you may get away with that. Yeah. But you can't get away with it in marriage, you know. And so one of the things that I've learned is that, you know, I got to keep my relationship with God tight. Yeah. If I want to have my marriage close.
That's so good.
You know what I mean? If I
Yep.
want intimacy in my marriage, I have to have closeness with God. My proximity to God is going to be revealed through how healthy my marriage is.
That's so good.
My proximity with God is clear. Why? Because what happens? People cheat on their in their marriage. What happened? There was proximity. You know, the closeness of God, you know, them being close to God, you know, they start gradually shifting. That's why it's a wedge in there. You know, we want to get separated. It's a closeness to God. It's a proximity to God. That's the problem is, you know, the closeness to God.
Yeah.
If I have closeness with God, I have intimacy in my marriage. If I have close proximity with God, I have closeness in my marriage. And that's what I've noticed. And
that's so good.
And, you know, it's crazy because the enemy is so crafty.
Yeah.
That all of a sudden, you know, we'll be blowing up. We'll have an argument. I'm like, and it hits me. I've been off.
Yeah.
I've been off in my intimacy with God. I've been allowing worries to infest my heart.
Yeah.
I have not been in the Word of God the way I need to be. I have not been, you know, seeking God, you know, the way I should, worshiping Him, honor Him, putting Him first.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it hits.
Yeah.
And God gets my attention with this argument.
That's
God gets
so
my
real.
attention with this mild irritation. Even if it don't blow up into it's just, why am I getting so frustrated?
Yeah.
Like, even if it don't translate to anger or pride manifesting and you see it, but in my heart, I'm like, the reason why that's irritating you is because you have been neglecting your relationship with God.
So good.
Yeah. And so
real.
Yeah. God, marriage is a magnifier.
Yep.
Marriage is difficult. You know, marriage is very, very difficult. You know, we got to learn how to have emotional intelligence and awareness in marriage. And you got to understand that, hey, communication is key. You know, it teaches you how to communicate, you know, and be more healthy in that area. And your relationship with God can be prioritized and your marriage can be healthy. So I hope this blessed some people. I really, really hope it bless you. Matter of fact, you know, go ahead and go in the comment section and go ahead and say which one stood out to you, whether it was 5 from Helena or 5 from me, or you know,
let me do a recap right
maybe
quick
a couple of them, right? And so maybe a couple of them spoke to you, but go ahead and put it in the comment section. That she does a recap so you can be reminded of which ones that she went over.
So I said my decisions affect Billy, right? And it does what I'm doing translating to love for Billy. He doesn't have all the answers, and that's okay. He needs to be extended grace just like I do. He's a human. He needs affection just as much as I do. And my relationship with God, the condition of my heart, my responsibility.
Yeah. And so those are the 5 that she did. I think I said marriage is difficult.
Yeah.
You know, I said
marriage is a magnifier.
Marriage is a magnifier. You know, talked about, you know, one of the things I really learned was emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
And then I do know that, you know, my relationship with God, you know, is very important because it's revealed in my marriage. And I come off the cuff. She writes stuff down, so I don't know. That's 4.
That's 4.
Yeah, that's 4.
Those are 4 really
but,
good.
But you know, give us comments, share, let others know about this page so people can know about it. And we really, really believe that marriages matter. Every moment in marriage matter. Yeah, it's so important. So thank you for joining us, you know, and once again, we'll see you next time.
Bye.